You might have clicked on this video wondering, what are experimental games? Basically, that just means the games in this video are ones that I wanted to talk about, but couldn't because they can't really be categorized into a particular genre. Also, it just gives me an excuse to talk about more really good free Steam games. That being said, here are the top 5 free experimental Steam games you don't know about. Only Can's Thirst Date is a rhythm game where you do photo shoots for sexualized soda cans to try and get high scores.
Oh.
Get out of here! Go away!
Thank God I'm blind.
So where do I start with this one? Well, you're a photographer who works for the company She's. And yes, there's a ton of puns like that in the game. During the photo shoots, you have to time your left and right arrow key presses or mouse clicks to when the meter on the bar moves into the right zone. If you time it correctly and press the right direction, you'll pleasure the can, which speeds up the timing. Fail and it slows back down. You have to try and get as many correct timings before the timer runs out, and based on your score, the can will, finish. Then the score you got with that can will be represented on the menu screen. Every time you finish a shoot with one can, you unlock the next one, and each one is designed differently and has a different flavor. Each can has a history along with a description full of innuendos, along with what the can's likes and dislikes are. That's really all there is gameplay-wise. The pleasure, enjoyment for me came from reading through all of the cans' descriptions and seeing what personalities they had while doing the photo shoot, since each can has unique dialogue. Everyone knows you just play this for the personality of the cans, right? And anyone? There's both boy cans and girl cans with all kinds of interests and personalities, so there's a can for everyone, of all ages.
It's time to stop!
It takes about an hour to see all of the cans, so if you've just been dying to play a game about sexualized cans, then I recommend Only Can's Thirst Date. All that soda made me thirsty. Burning Daylight is a sci-fi adventure game set in a dystopian future where you play through an environmental story to uncover the truth of your origins. You wake up naked in a slaughterhouse and have no idea who you are or where you came from. Obviously not wanting to be killed, you progress through this world trying to make sense of everything. The atmosphere of the game reminded me a lot of Inside because they're both set in these industrial alternate futures and have protagonists that are trying to make sense of the world they were placed in. I really loved the beautifully dark and oppressive world. There's so much imagery and symbolism you'll see and experience. People are living on the streets while hooked up to these augmented reality headsets to keep everyone under control. Eventually you find one of the headsets and get to experience why everyone is so blinded to the world they're living in.
Let's join in.
The sound design was excellent in shaping the tone of the game. There's an understated soundtrack to shape the current emotion of the scene and constant atmospheric sound effects. The gameplay consists of walking through the environments and doing some really light puzzle solving where you might interact with an object or two to progress. The walking is a bit clunky, but it doesn't really hinder the story the game wants you to experience. If you're looking for a 45-minute long, gorgeous, environmental, story-driven game, then I recommend Burning Daylight. Press Any Button is about a game that realizes how boring it is, so an AI tries to fix it while talking to you about life and humanity. The story starts out with you doing this boring task of pressing a button whenever the box is in the green zone because you're part of a test. Then this rabbit-looking artificial intelligence pops in and explains how it wants to make a game that's actually fun. As it talks to you, you get to know more about it, and it's talking directly to you, breaking the fourth wall. It ends up making a game about not letting these falling objects touch the floor with 3 platforms you can use to stop them. This little game evolves over time based on the conversations you have with the AI and was surprisingly engaging. There's even a few other charming minigames you play through, all based on the conversations you have. It's one of the most wholesome games I've played. There's a ton of depth in the writing that gets you to question your own thoughts about life. The conversations start with it just talking about the game before it opens up into what life is like being an AI. Eventually you can answer yes or no, giving your own opinion on the questions the AI asks you, which makes you feel closer to it. It tells you a backstory about its origins and how it was created by a girl named Aunt Seva. I normally don't like reading a lot in games, but the conversations were so elegantly written and tied in so well with the gameplay. The whole story and ending is brilliant, but I don't want to spoil it. Just play the game, it's like 45 minutes. If you like wholesome games with excellent writing, then I recommend Press Any Button. Knock Harder Useless is a strange game where you have to decide whether or not you're inside of a dream or in reality. Essentially, the game is like a playable Inception where you're multiple dream levels deep and have to observe your surroundings to look for anything that seems strange or out of place. If everything seems normal, then you're in reality and have to survive until the timer runs out. However, if you look around the house and think you're in a dream, then you have to kill yourself to advance to the next level. Because if the timer runs out while you're in a dream, you die in reality and have to start over. There's two different graphical styles, the dream world and the reality world, or what looks to be reality. Every time you succeed at killing yourself in the fake reality, you go to this dream world where you talk to this leprechaun guy who tells you some lore about the world before sending you back to the reality looking world. If you die in a dream, you'll go to the dream looking world and the leprechaun will tell you why you died so you can learn what to look out for next time. While you're looking around the house, there will be monsters who try to attack you, so you have to kill them with your gun. It was super easy though and just hindered my progress a bit while looking around. You end up having to replay the game several times to try and memorize what the real reality version of the house is supposed to look like. It's sort of a playable spot the difference game, which I've never seen anything like before. It took me about an hour to beat the game, so if you're looking for a playable Inception where you question your own reality, then I recommend Knock Harder Useless. Vidiot Game describes itself as a game that may cause brain damage, play at your own demise, so I really had no idea what I was about to play. After playing, I can fully confirm that it gives you brain damage. You think there's some sort of point to the game because literally every other game has a point to it, but in Vidiot Game, you just keep playing in hopes of figuring everything out, but you never do. Its gameplay consists of a bunch of different mini-games like collecting items in a room before the timer runs out, or answering a series of multiple choice questions. It plays as if the WarioWare games were on a glitchy acid trip. It'll recycle the same minigames over again, but with a completely new look, which made everything even more confusing. I think there might be a story in the game, but I'm not even sure. Even dying doesn't make sense because every time you restart the game, it just drops you into one of its random minigames. I did manage to win one time and get one of the endings because I got the multiple choice answers right and survived enough minigames, but apparently there's multiple endings, but I have no idea how you're supposed to get any of them. I basically wrote 2 minutes of the script to tell you almost nothing about the game because I have no idea what it's even about, but if you've always wanted to try drugs but worry about the harmful effects they'll have on you, then I recommend Vidiot Game. Guys, so basically 2 bonus games.
Does it feel good?
VR Flush begins with you sitting on a toilet before you're beamed up to an alien spaceship where you have to convince an AI that you're a really intelligent life form.
Can you understand me?
Once you get beamed up to the spaceship, a Wheatley-looking robot examines you while you perform tasks, and then this other robot determines if you're intelligent enough to not be vaporized. The dialogue is really funny, and I enjoyed the banter between the 2 robots.
Or even better, grab a ball and throw it at the damn AI.
If you're looking for a 10-minute interactive movie-like game with funny writing, then I recommend VR Flush. Where Room is a surreal exploration point-and-click game where you go through a surreal claymation world. You play as this blue hand and click on things in the environment to solve the puzzles, if you want to call them that. Like, how well can you predict how one abstract object will interact with another one, though? The claymation environments were really cool to go through because I've never seen a game use claymation before. If you're looking for a strange 10-minute point-and-click game, then I recommend Waroom. Those were the top 5 free experimental Steam games you didn't know about. I'll have my playlist of free Steam games you don't know about linked in the description below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to keep up with this ongoing series.